Hello everyone. In this session, we will be dealing with the importance of NCERTs in clearing UPSC Prelims examination, and we will be particularly dealing with the science and tech portion of the UPSC Prelims and how NCERTs will help you clear the cutoff and why NCERT should be your foundation, and instead of going for the high end books or compilations, you should uh, make NCERT your sole foundation, and upon that foundation you have to supplement with your uh, daily news reading and current affairs updation. So in order to uh, show you the importance of NCERTs in UPSC examination, particularly from the science and tech topic, we have prepared a set of questions which have been directly asked from the NCERTs, and some of them the crux has been in the NCERT and the application level has been asked in the uh, actual paper. So, NCERTs should be your prime foundation in learning UPSC prelims and UPSC civil services exam in general, and particularly today we will be dealing about the science and tech portion. And so, while going to the syllabus, it's like very it's not clear. Actually, the UPSC syllabus regarding science and tech just speaks general science. For the prelims, it just speaks about general science. So automatically you will be having a doubt, how will we learn general science? It can range all the way from atoms to pulsars, neutron stars, from electrons to galaxies. So actually it's like a bit vast considering the terminology used in the syllabus, general science. But keep in mind, you just have to be clear with certain foundations in the certain chapters, certain portions from the NCERT textbooks, and you have to uh, keep on adding uh, those current related, those news related topics, and with that, with NCERT as your foundation and with regular and consistent addition of current affairs happening in the field of science and tech, your science and tech for the prelims as well as mains will be dealt with. That's the only source you will be requiring for clearing the prelims as well as mains of particularly from the science and tech portion. So make NCERT your sole foundation and keep on adding uh, daily developments in the field of science and tech from the newspapers and as well as other sources. So general science, we are given a very vague like topic, general science, and coming to the mains, the topic, the terminologies used are a bit more specific. The mains, as you know, it comes under GS3 paper in the main syllabus, science and tech. General studies 3, technology, science and technology, developments and their applications and effects in everyday life. Achievements of Indians in science and technology, indigenization of technology and developing new technology, awareness in the field of IT, space, computers, robotics, nanotechnology, biotechnology and issues relating to intellectual property rights. So coming to the mains, the syllabus becomes a little more specific, but while looking into the while particularly looking into the prelim syllabus, like the top terminology used is very vague, general science. But as you know, the questions being asked, there was a question from pulsars, neutron stars, and also there was a question from the working of pressure cookers. There was a question about light years to that of carbon nanofibers. Then there was a question on mRNA vaccines, and there was a question also from plastic bags, PET bottles. So like you just have to have a basic idea of the everyday applications, and that idea can be developed from reading basic NCERTs. And regarding reading about NCERTs, particularly for science and tech, many of you might have a confusion, or should I have some prerequisite uh, prerequisite knowledge or some foundational knowledge about science and tech. Actually, it is neither possible nor necessary to read uh, every science and tech book from cover to cover. Instead, you have to be very selective. You have to um, you have to choose certain general topics which do not require any prerequisite, and makes notes out of them and keep on revising, and that will cover everything related to your science and tech portion, and that will help you clear the prelims also. So, regarding the topics that are of importance, I'll just list them out towards the end of the session. So, uh, in order to show you the importance, I am reiterating, I am telling you again, in order to show you the importance of NCERTs in prelims examination, in UPSC examination in general, we have prepared certain questions, and I will just show you the source from which the questions were taken from the NCERT. Suppose so this was a question asked in your UPSC prelims with reference to polyethylene terephthalate, the use of which is so widespread in our daily lives. Consider the following statements. Its fibers can be blended with wool and cotton fibers to reinforce their properties. Containers made of it can be used to store any alcoholic beverage. Bottles made of it can be recycled into other products. Articles made of it can be easily disposed of by incineration without causing greenhouse gas emissions. Actually, polyethylene terephthalate, the word itself as such is mentioned in chemistry in everyday life, NCERT textbook of class 12, and the same thing was taken from the NCERT and made into a prelims question. And in case you still don't believe, again, aerosols, foam agents, fire retardants, lubricants, chemistry in everyday life, environmental chemistry. This question was asked in 2022 prelims, I guess, 2022 or 2023. In how many of the in the making of how many of the above are hydrofluorocarbons used? Again, from the like taken as such from NCERT textbook. Again, consider the following: carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, ozone, sulfur dioxide. Excess of which of the above in the environment is or causes of acid rain? So this is a screenshot from environmental chemistry, a chapter from +1 chemistry NCERT, and here see, oxides of nitrogen and sulfur which are acidic in nature can be blown by wind along with solid particles, and acid rain is a byproduct of the variety of human activities that emits oxides of sulfur and nitrogen in the atmosphere. See, consider the following: which of the following is or above are the causes of acid rain? As such, the statements are given in the NCERT textbooks, and this is a basic read. In order to read about acid rain, in order to read about this how acid rain affects everyday life, or it's how it is determinantal to monuments, etc., there is no requirement of any prerequisite knowledge in science, no requirement of any prerequisite knowledge of chemical formulas or chemical structures. This is just a general reading topic, and you have to read such topics. You have to select such topics and read accordingly and makes note from them. And again, DNA barcoding can be a tool to assess the age of the plant or animal, distinguish among species that look alike, identify undesirable animal or plant materials in processed food. All these questions have been asked in your UPSC prelims examination for the past. We have selected the questions from the past 3 or 4 years, and the source of most of these questions are directly from the NCERTs. Believe me, the source of most of the questions asked in science and tech are directly from the NCERTs, and the rest are from the current affairs section that you have to keep on adding to your basics. So, with NCERTs as your sole foundation and addition of current affairs, a consistent updation of current affairs, your science and tech portion of prelims as well as mains will be dealt with. No need to go for any further sources related to science and tech. Again, we were talking about DNA barcoding. Again, see, biotechnology and its applications. Again, a chapter from class 12 biology, DNA fingerprinting. and here DNA barcoding. Believe me, most of the questions they were directly or indirectly from the NCERT related to science and tech, and the rest are from the current affairs. Those articles which have been in the news recently. So only two sources to be studied for science and tech. One, NCERTs as your sole foundation, and two, you have to with NCERTs as your foundation, you have to supplement it with daily news updation. Again, which one of the following statements best describes the role of B cells and T cells in the human body? Which of the following best statements best describes the role of B cells and T cells in human body? They protect the body from diseases caused by pathogens. This is a screenshot of the chapter Human Health and Diseases. See, the primary and secondary immune responses are carried out with the help of two special type of lymphocytes present in our body, that is B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. The B lymphocytes produce an army of proteins in response to the pathogens into our blood to fight with them. Again, directly taken from NCERT. As you all know, the NCERT textbooks, like they are precise, like concise, succinct, and it's often considered a standard textbook. Like while skimming through the NCERT pages, you might see the textbook development committee. Most of the members of the textbook development committee are experts from their respective domains. So the best source to have a foundational knowledge is NCERT only, rather than going for any other sources. So like if you have read the NCERTs and you have made your notes out of them, you can answer all these questions. All these questions are directly taken from the NCERTs, and I have shown you the sources also. Again, in a pressure cooker, the temperature at which the food is cooked depends mainly upon which of the following? So again, see, this explains why cooking is difficult on hills at high latitudes. So on the other hand, boiling point is increased inside a pressure cooker by increasing the pressure. Again, the same thing that has been discussed in the NCERTs is being made into a question in the UPSC prelims. So actually, like the sole foundation for your science and tech learning related to UPSC civil services is NCERT, and you have to supplement it with you have to complement and supplement it with daily happenings related to science and tech, and that will be sufficient. That will be sufficient for clearing prelims as well as mains related to science and tech. Okay. Again, consider the following: bacteria, fungi, virus. Which of the following can be cultured in artificial or synthetic medium? Again, microbes like bacteria and many fungi can be grown on nutritive media to form colonies. Such cultures are useful in studies on microorganisms. I can keep on going, showing you examples of how questions are directly framed from NCERTs. The sole purpose of this session is to make you realize, make you understand why NCERTs are important for UPSC civil services and how to read them. Towards the end of the session, we will be dealing how to read NCERTs, like related to science and tech. You need not read all the NCERTs from cover to cover. It's neither possible nor necessary. But you have to selectively read certain topics, certain chapters, certain portions from the NCERTs selectively and makes notes out of them. That will be more than sufficient. Which of the following is a reason why astronomical distances are measured in light years? Again, a prelims question. And see, ranges of length, light year, everything is being mentioned in the NCERTs itself. And they are more or less framing questions directly from the NCERTs. So, you have to read about these things and consider and again coming to reading, what should you read? Should I read all the NCERTs from class 6 to class 12? It's not possible, and it's not required also. But you have to selectively read certain general topics. that doesn't require any subject specialization. For example, in the class 11 NCERT, there's a chapter called Physical World, and here physics, technology and society, fundamental forces in nature, then about fundamental forces, about Satyendranath Bose, about C.V. Raman, about Albert Einstein. Actually, these are all general reading materials. You do not require any specific prerequisite like any mathematical knowledge or any knowledge about chemistry or biology. Actually, these things can be read by anyone. Any UPSC aspirant can take this portion and read and make notes out of them. There is no prerequisite of any scientific background or science background for you to read these topics. And you have to selectively select those topics which are of importance to examination. And towards the end of the session, we will help you identify those topics which are important and which have to be read, which are a bare minimum read for UPSC examination. Again, this trend is actually this trend is not only will not only help you in prelims but also in mains. See, I will show you with an example. What is the basic principle behind vaccine development? How do vaccines work? What approaches were adopted by the Indian vaccine manufacturers to produce COVID-19 vaccine? Answer in 250 words, 15 marks. What is the basic principle behind vaccine development? See, this is a screenshot from your NCERT. The principle of immunization or vaccination is based on the property of memory of the immune system, directly given in the NCERT. And if you are familiar with these basic topics from the NCERT, that's more than enough. You just have to keep on adding, supplementing with the daily news. So, make NCERTs your sole foundation, particularly in relation to science and tech. Again, there was a question on this triclosan. See, I am not asking you to learn the chemical formula or chemical structure, molecular structure of compounds or anything. Just like while preparing notes, you just have to antiseptics. What are antiseptics? Antiseptics are applied to living tissues, and you have to just write down these names. See, sometimes in the UPSC prelims you will be asked terpenol used in our daily life is related to what? Is it a fertilizer? Is it a vaccine? Is it a antiseptic? Is it an artificial sweetener? So, that is how UPSC asks questions. So, how you have to extract information from these things is how to read and just write down these names. Again, characteristics of 5 kingdom classification. From biological classification, you just have to Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, animalia, and where cell membranes are present, where it is absent. So, this is how you should prepare for science and tech portion related to UPSC examination. So, again I am telling you, selective reading. Selective reading means you need not read all the like junk data, only those things which are relevant for you. And how to identify those topics or portions which are relevant to you? It's by like you have to identify those topics. For example, and we will show you what all topics. We will give you a rough idea of what all topics need to be read, and make your own notes. This is very important, especially in the case of science and tech. See, it's like just before the day of examination, you won't be able to read all these things. So, what you have to do is before the examination, well before the examination, you have to read, you have to make notes out of this. See, this from this entire page of NCERT, like you can summarize it in 2 or 3 lines. Antiseptics and those examples, anti-fertility drugs, those examples. and here 5 kingdom, this chart will suffice. So you have to make your notes accordingly, and you have to keep on revising them and read newspapers, try to link current and static. And regarding the topics, if you are, if you think you need a uh, foundational reading on science and tech, and if you have sufficient time, you can read science textbook of class 8, 9 and 10. Actually, I am sure most of you are familiar with those terms, familiar with the words atoms, molecules, forces, cell, everything. So just if you think you want to have a general reading, a foundational reading, you can start with science textbooks of class 9, 8, 9 and 10. There is actually there is no prerequisite required to read a science textbook of these 3 chapters. And again, if you are from a science background, or if you think you have adequate foundational knowledge, you can skip this. Again, if you want, you can read information and communication technology class 9. ICT, there is a textbook of class 9. Again, you have to selectively read those topics which are important from the point of view. Actually, it talks about certain terms used in our day to day life. So you just have to related to computers, information, and all. So just try to read selectively and make notes out of them. And again, so this is the basic foundational thing. And if you think you have a adequate background, like adequate foundational knowledge, you can skip this, no issues. And ICT, information and technology class 9, again you have to just skim through the pages and make a 2 or 3 page note out of them for the entire textbook. That will be more than sufficient. And coming to class 11, there are some must reads. Actually, you can take a screenshot or whatever. From class 11 physics, there is a chapter called physical world. We have seen this chapter which deals about physics, technology, society, fundamental forces in nature. So just read that chapter. There is no need to understand any mathematical procedures, nothing. It's just a simple read, general reading chapter. Read and makes notes out of them. Like you just have to learn what are the fundamental forces of nature, what is a light year, what is a ton, what is a neutron star, what is an electron, what is a neutron. Everything is mentioned in the chapter. So just read that chapter and make notes, your own notes out of that. And then again, can read the introductory part of the second chapter, units and dimension. It discusses about the various units like light years, parsec. So just have an idea. See, like sometimes you will be asked what is a light year. So you should have an idea. Light year, it's a unit used for measuring length. So year, the word year doesn't signify anything to do with time. It's a unit used for measuring length. So those things are mentioned in the second chapter, units and dimensions. Just read the introductory part. No need to go into dimension analysis, nothing. No need to read anything specific, like particularly related to that subject. Only those general readings will be sufficient. And chemistry, this is a must read, environmental chemistry, class 11, environmental chemistry. Actually, it's very important not only from the point of view of science and tech, but also from environment also. You can learn about various, the previous question we discussed about acid rain. It was directly taken from environmental chemistry. So this chapter is a must read. And then coming to biology, living world. Again, it doesn't require any prerequisites. You can actually, it talks about what is living. It talks about virus. Is virus living or non-living? So in order to have a general idea, you can read that chapter. Then again, biology classification. You need not read the entire, you need not read and by heart the entire chapter, but you have to have an idea what is a fungi, what is a cyanobacteria, what is blue green algae, what is protista, and those examples mentioned in the NCERT. So you have to, if a question comes for your prelims, you should be able to identify what is what. So this is a fungi, this is a like this is a member of blue green algae, or this is a protista. So you should be able to identify. So need not by heart the entire thing, but just familiarize yourself with the terms, terminologies in those, in that chapter. Again, plant and animal kingdoms, again need not read from the all the way from the beginning to the end. Selective reading. So how plants are classified, flowering plants, and again animals. Just have a basic understanding. Just go through, skim the pages and have an understanding. Get yourself familiarized with the terms. That's what you are supposed to do. Again, this is actually a bit important. Cell cycle, cell division. It talks about various cell organelles, mitochondria. Actually, mitochondria was asked in previous years. So, what is mitochondrial replacement therapy? So, just try to read these chapters: cell cycle, and cell division, and selective reading on human physiology. There is an entire unit on human physiology, starting all the way from digestion to neural control and coordination. Need not go into the details, but uh, just like skim the pages, go through the pages, and have an idea. Okay, how human eye, like go through the pictures and go through the diagrams. Just have an idea of the terms used. Get yourself familiarized with the terms used, and that will be enough. So this is regarding class 11, and coming to class 12, again physics, selective reading, application part. For example, see, this is a, all of you are familiar with the term northern lights or aurora borealis. Most of you have might seen the pictures of green, pink rays of light, particularly in the Scandinavian countries. So helical motion of charged particles and aurora borealis. See, again, you just read this portion. In polar regions like Alaska and northern Canada, a splendid display of colors is seen in the sky. The appearance of dancing green and pink lights is fascinating and equally puzzling. An explanation for this natural phenomena is now found in physics in terms of what we have studied here. So this talks about the physics part. Need not read this, but during a solar flare, a large number of electrons and protons are ejected from the sun. Some of them get trapped in the Earth's magnetic field and move in helical paths. Likewise, just selectively read those portions which do not require any specific subject knowledge. So, how this aurora borealis or northern lights happen? Due to helical motion of charged particles, and here it's shown during a solar flare, a large number of electrons and protons are ejected from the sun. Some of them get trapped in Earth's magnetic field and move in helical paths along the field lines. The field lines come closer to each other near the magnetic folds. These particles collide with atoms and molecules of the atmosphere. Emitted oxygen atoms emit green lights, and excited oxygen atoms emit green light, and excited nitrogen atoms emit pink light. And this phenomenon is called aurora in physics. So basically, it's the helical motion of charged particles. Again, this box talks about the accelerators in India, like particle accelerators in India. So just when you see such application based boxes, just read the general part and makes notes out of that. That will be sufficient. So selective reading, application part, boxes, etc. Example aurora. Then EM waves. There is a chapter on EM waves, and again need not read the theory part. Just read about what are radio waves, what are microwaves, how are they used, what is microwave oven. See, there was a question was asked from pressure cooker. So there are chances of questions being asked from induction cooker. Again, how induction cooker work? Can you cook in an aluminum vessel, in an induction cooker, how microwave oven works. So UPSC asks about everyday general science. So the basic foundation can be made from NCERTs. Again, here this gravitation chapter talks about geostationary satellite, INSAT satellites. You are familiar with the INSAT satellites. So you have to actually takes a bit of time to initially it takes a bit of time to select those topics which are of importance to you, but once you get familiarized with the textbook, you can easily pick them up, and you have to make notes out of them, and then you can keep aside your NCERTs, and towards the exam just have to revise your notes you have prepared from the NCERTs. Then EM waves applications and the introductory part of semiconductors. There's a chapter on semiconductors, and just read the first 3-4 pages. So introductory part, what are semiconductors, how are they different from usual conductors, what is their significance. So such things are being discussed there. And chemistry, there's a chapter biomolecules. It talks about RNA, DNA, how RNA is different from DNA. Again, selective reading, need not go into the technicalities, just general reading will suffice. Then there is a chapter on polymers. Again, you just have to like note down those polymers and their monomers given in the NCERTs, like nylon 66. What are the monomers of nylon 66? Then polystyrene, polyethylene, high density polyethylene, low density polyethylene. Where are they used? Like polyethylene terephthalate. What is polyethylene terephthalate? PET bottles, plastic bottles we are used. So what are its monomers? Just make a list of the polymers and the monomers used, and what those polymers are. For example, if nylon 66, is it a synthetic fiber? Polyethylene terephthalate, is it a plastic form of plastic? Just that will suffice. Chemistry in everyday life, it's a must-read chapter. We have seen also, like from that chapter you just have to pick those. Like there was a question, triclosan. What is triclosan? Taken from the chapter chemistry in everyday life. See, that's why the very name itself, chemistry in everyday life. So you have to be familiar with the chemistry in everyday life. So just read that chapter and make notes out of them. You should be able to identify what is what if asked in the UPSC examination. That's the sole requirement. Should be able to identify what is what. There's no need to go into the details or technicalities. Just a general reading would do. And coming to the biology part of class 12, human health and diseases. We have discussed about vaccination, immunization. Actually, that is a must-read chapter. You can read that. It's a general read chapter. There is no particular technicalities being discussed in that chapter. Then biotechnology and its application, and try to understand the basics about how this PCR, what is PCR, what are the applications. Then biology and human welfare, there are a set of chapters like strategies for enhancement in food production, microbes. So you just have to understand how microbes can be used in, or how biology can be used in the advancement of human society, and note down those examples which are being discussed in this chapter. Then selective reading or genetics, need not go into the technicalities, but selective. What is transcription, what is translation, what is DNF barcoding, what is human genome project. Just have a general idea. Then you have to you can read the entire unit dealing with environment, ecosystem and biodiversity. Towards the end, there's a entire unit dedicated to this environment, biodiversity, organisms, populations. Actually, that topic is a must read from the environment point of view also. So these are the, so this talks about the how portion, like what are the topics to be read and how should you read those and make your own notes from them. And with this, like your science and tech foundation will be very strong, and with regular addition from daily current affairs, this can be the this that will help you in clearing the prelims and mains. There is no need to run after any other sources or anything else. This alone will help you in clearing prelims and mains. We have seen that with examples. So again, in your self assessment test, there was a question: aspartame. What is aspartame, which we used in our daily life? Is it a fertilizer? Is it an antibiotic? Is it a antiseptic? Or is it an artificial sweetener? Again, this is how you should be preparing your notes, like artificial sweetening agents, and just note their names: aspartame, saccharin, halitine, and why people are using, because like it's of great use of, it's of great value to diabetic persons and people who need to control intake of calories. So this is the way you should prepare notes from the NCERTs for your science and tech portion. And once you have prepared the notes, actually the note making, the initial reading is a bit time consuming, and once you are done with that, you just need to revise the notes which you have made for yourself, and keep on supplementing it with your newspaper reading, and that will be more than enough for your prelims as well as mains. So all the very best. NCERTs are important. NCERTs are particularly important not only from the science and tech point, but in general, polity, economy, geography, history. So make NCERTs your best friends and study accordingly. So that's it. Thank you very much. Happy learning.